Hello everybody, welcome back. So, in this part, we're going to go over and go about what commander we've decided to pick from the cards we pulled from the new Capenna booster box. So our commander will be Quasar Augur of Agonies. Whenever you draw a card, target opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. So, already kind of going over that, knowing what we're going to be doing with this, we're going to draw our deck out to kill off people. There are some cards that we were able to pull from the booster box that we were able to use to assist us in that. That being said, let's go ahead and go about what cards we're going to be using for this deck. So, again, our commander will be Quasar Augur of Agonies. We are going to have Rider's Chaplain as part of it. And the main reason for it is when it enters the battlefield or leaves the battlefield, each opponent may investigate. Each opponent who doesn't loses 1 life. You investigate X times, where X is +1. The investigate the number of opponents who investigated this way. Gives us a clue token. Clue tokens cost 2, so we can draw a card. The benefit out of that is whoever does help us out, or whoever is kind of greedy about wanting to get cards for themselves, will benefit us, and obviously will help us out to get more cards as we go. We went ahead and added Tivit, Seller of Secrets. It's a 6 cost for a 6/6, flying with forward 3. And it has whenever it enters the battlefield or deals combat damage to a player, starting with you, each player votes for evidence or bribery. For each evidence vote, investigate, or bribery. Or for each bribery vote, create a treasure token. And I get to vote twice. Obviously, we know what I'm going to be voting for to help me out. And then we ended up pulling a Nexilus the Fallen. Landfall, whenever a land enters the battlefield under my control, I can lose 3 life, or you may have target player lose 3 life. If you do, put 3/1/1 counters on this creature. It'll be something we can use to help out to kind of swing out at people. Now, as we've gone over before, in the challenge we're allowed to pick 10 cards to put into the deck that aren't cards that we will just be fixated on. Some of those cards that we're going to be adding is going to be starting off with Elixir of Immortality, a Sad Robot, a Soul Ring, a Commander Sphere, Charcoal Diamond, a Marble Diamond, a Sky Diamond, Temple of Deceit, Temple of Silence, and Command Tower. These 10 will help us out with our mana fixing and also with any types of artifacts that we could use to benefit us in the long run of things. Now, to go over the cards that we pulled that are going to be in our deck, starting off with the rares, is Avon Heartstabber. Flying, as long as there are 5 or more mana values among cards in your graveyard, it gets a +2/+2 and has Death Touch. And when it dies, mill 2 cards, then draw a card. Helps us out drawing and also gives us the ability to attack somebody. Obscura Ascendancy. Whenever I cast a spell, if its mana value is equal to 1 plus the number of soul counters on the card, put a soul counter on Ascendancy, then create a 2/2 white spirit creature token with flying. It continues on. Once I get up to 5, my spirits that I've controlled now get a +3/+3/+3. Tenacious Underdog has Blitz cost. It costs 2 to cast him out for a 3/2, but if I blitz him, it's a 4 cost. I pay 2 life, but I'll be gaining life as I go, so it wouldn't matter. When it dies, I have to sacrifice it at my next end step. So, therefore, I'm hoping he dies. I draw a card as he goes out, but I get to cast him for my Blitz cost anytime in my graveyard. He doesn't get exiled, so I can use him. So I can continue ramp through this if I need to. Sanguine Spy, Menace, lifelink, pay 1, sacrifice another creature, look at the top card of your library, you may put that card into your graveyard at the beginning of your end step. If there are 5 or more mana values among in the grave, you may pay 2. If you do, draw a card. Confront the Pass. If I need to get a planeswalker or get rid of a planeswalker, this is the best way I can go about it. Cut the Profits. Obviously, New Capenna doesn't have basic cards that everybody would use from all sets. So I'll be stuck using this, which costs an extra and adds extra steps. But the benefit is I can draw X cards and I lose X life. I won't be losing life. It just cancels each other out at this point with my Capenna out on the field. So at this point, it would be kind of a kill spell for me to get rid of somebody. Then I can casualty 3 and copy the spell. So I'll just have to get rid of 1 creature. Benefit for me is I can get rid of 2 players if they're low enough in health. Ledger Shredder. Everyone knows this card by this point. Everyone's using it now. Whenever a player casts their second spell each turn, it conveys. I draw a card, discard a card, and it gets a +1/+1 if it's a non-land card that's put into the graveyard or gets discarded. Wiretapping, Hideaway, Enchantment. Whenever I draw my first card during each draw step, I draw another card. So I'll draw 2 cards now as I go. It's a 5 mana cost, but it's a good enchantment to help me out. Eventually, if I can draw 9 cards or more, or have 9 cards or more in my hand, I can play the exiled card. It's not really the thing I'm going to be using for it. It's going to be the ability to draw 2 cards. All-Seeing Altar, or Arbiter. When it enters the battlefield, I draw 2 cards. Or when it attacks, I draw 2 cards. Then I discard a card. It's a 6 cost, but being able to get 2 cards off the rip and then discard 1 card that may not matter, it's a benefit. And then when I attack with it, it has flying, so it's going to be hard for anyone to block it sometimes, but the benefit is when it attacks, I get its ability again. When I discard a card, target creature an opponent controls gets -X until your next turn, where X is the number of different mana values among cards in your graveyard. Mana values are 1, 2, 3, 4, a 4 and 2 islands. Those are different mana values. So it adds up. And every time I attack and when this comes in, I can go ahead and kill off somebody's creature every single time as I go. Tenuous Truce. This is where politics is going to come in. At the beginning of each opponent's end step, or enchanted opponent's end step, that player and I both draw a card. Make a proposition to somebody. I won't use it to take your life. As I go about it, you get to draw a card, I get to deal damage to somebody else and draw a card, and you get to draw a card. Benefit. Obviously, if they attack me or I attack them, or they attack a planeswalker of mine, or vice versa, then the truce goes away. Next one will be 2 planeswalkers. Elves of Resplendent and Elves of Undaunted Hero. Put a 1/1 counter on up to 2 target creatures, +2 it, +1 it, put a 1/1 counter and add either flying, first strike, lifelink, or vigilance on a creature, and that's +1ing it. Both are great. We're going to be adding these 2. So that finishes off what we've added for our rares and mythics. Next, we're going to go through our uncommons that we were able to collect from here. Tainted Indulgence. Draw 2 cards, discard a card, unless there are 5 or more mana values among cards in your graveyard. We're going to get to that point. We have many of these cards that cost different values. We're not going to have to worry about it, so I won't have to necessarily worry about discarding, but if I still do, we've already went over one of the creatures that gives us the ability to kill off a creature every time we do so, so might as well. Nimble Larcenous, flying. When it enters the battlefield, target opponent reveals their hand. I get to choose an artifact, instant, sorcery card from it and exile it. For 3 costs, well worth it. Then Obscura Charm, return multicolor permanent with mana value 3 or less from the graveyard to the battlefield. Be helpful. Counter target instant sorcery spell. Kind of expensive, but will be useful. And then destroy target creature or planeswalker with mana value 3 or less. Will be great, especially if there's someone with a mana dork that's just getting out of hand. Exotic pets. I get to create 2 fish that are unblockable, and they'll deal damage as they go about it. And then each creature token, and then for each kind of counter among creatures I control, put a counter on that kind either of those tokens. It's a bit jumbled up what I just said there, but it'll benefit us in the long run. Metropolis Angel. Whenever I attack with one or more creatures, draw a card. And they have to have counters on them. An offer you can't refuse. It's a counter spell. It'll help us out. Counter a non-creature spell, kill spells, board wipes, something I can use to help out as long as they don't have a board wipe that can't be countered. So be it. They get to create 2 treasure tokens. I'll help them out by helping me out. Slip out the back, put a 1/1 counter on target creature. It phases out. This will be helpful to save my commander in case I've already cast them once or twice. To save it for 1 cost, might as well. A little chat. Casualty 1, kill off a creature, and I get to copy the spell. Look at the top 2 cards of your library, put one of them into your hand and the other on the bottom of your library. It's a pretty good deal, and I get to kill off a creature and get to do it twice. Fairy Vandal. Has flash, flying. Whenever you draw your second card, each turn, put a 1/1 counter on Fairy Vandal. Beneficial. Public Enemy. Enchant a person. Pretty much consider it like a curse. Or not a person, but a creature. All creatures attack enchanted creature's controller. Each combat if able. It's like goading, except we're goading to kill off a person for 3 costs. And then whenever an enchanted creature dies, draw a card. So not only do I get to have everybody go after them, I get to draw a card. Pickpocket. When it enters the battlefield, it conveys. When it conveys this way, return up to 1 target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. And it gets a +1/+1, and I get to draw a card, then discard a card. Night Clubber. Enters the battlefield, creatures your opponent's control get a -1/-1 until end of turn. Great way to get rid of people's tokens if they have 1/1s or mana dorks that are 2/1s, 1/1s, however it needs to go. And has a blitz cost, so I can pay for 3, which is the same cost as it. I might as well just pay for the regular cost and then not worry about it. Rogue's Gallery. For each color, return up to 1 target creature card of that color from your graveyard to your hand. It's a 3-color deck. Get to bring back 3 creatures. Whack. This spell costs 3 less to cast if I'm taking out a white creature. Also, I get to say Bailiff whack his pee-pee when the time comes. Target creature gets a -4/-4 until end of turn. Illicit Shipment. Casualty 3. It's a little bit expensive. 5 costs, but search your library for a card, put it into your hand, then shuffle. Kill off a creature. Do it twice. It's a great tutor to get 2 cards. It's expensive, but great. Refuse to yield. This is to help out a creature or my commander if need be. As long as it's not a kill spell and it's a creature attacking my creature, I can use this to give it a +2/+7 in case someone has, oh, this creature fights so-and-so, or this creature deals this damage to what. Good help. Citizen's Crowbar. It creates a 1/1 green-white citizen. That's not the important part. The important part would be it gets attached to it, and then my creature, or the citizen in this case, I get to pay 1 plains, and I get to destroy a target artifact or enchantment, but I have to sacrifice the crowbar. It's well worth for 3 mana to get rid of something that could be killing me or dealing with me, such as propaganda. People use propaganda all the time. People use smothering tide. Enchantments like those are ones that we need to get rid of as soon as possible. The only way I can do it is sometimes it's something like this, especially when I only pulled these cards. Rumor Gatherer. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under my control, scry 1. If a second creature enters the battlefield, draw a card. This only happens once per turn, but it happens as often as I can. It will be beneficial. 3 costs for that. Helpful. Patch Up. Return up to 3 target creature cards with mana 3 or less from the graveyard to the battlefield. I have some creatures, like Rumor Gatherer, can come back, but other creatures that do help out, I can at least make Rumor Gatherer's abilities trigger. And then Mage's Attendant. When it enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 blue wizard where I can sacrifice it for 1 and have it counter a target non-creature spell unless its controller pays 1. It'll be useful, especially whenever it comes down to countering someone's spell. That being said, that completes our uncommons. Next step is our commons. Boon of Safety. Put a shield counter on target creature. Scry 1. For 1 cost, well worth it. Raffine's Guidance. It's a 1 cost to enchant a creature and give it a +1/+1. I can pay 3 and do it again if I pay it from the graveyard. I'm probably only going to pay it for the one time. Hold for Ransom. I'm going to use this against someone's commander or creature that's just meant to get rid of us. If someone's using a commander that has an ability when an attack triggers, then the benefit would be they can't attack or block, and their abilities don't work if they have to attack. Very helpful. And it forces the owner to pay 7 to even get rid of it and get the draw card. So, good luck. Backup Agent. Enters the battlefield. Put a 1/1 counter on target creature. We have cards that need creatures that have counters on them to work. So, for 2 costs to do so, might as well. Raffine's Informant. Enters the battlefield. Conveys. Put a 1/1 counter on it. Draw a card. Discard a card. Well worth it. Kill Shot. A little expensive for a kill spell, but murder is about the same cost. Destroy target attacking creature. It's very specific, but I have to have some kill spells when I need them. Fake Your Own Death. Creature gets a +2/+0, and gains when this creature dies. Return it to the battlefield, tapped under its controller's owner's control, and creates a treasure token. So it's gonna be helpful to bring back a creature and not having to worry about it. Think of it like phasing it out, but it said it dies, it comes back. Incriminate. Choose 2 target creatures controlled by the same player. That player sacrifices 1 of them. Kill spell. Extract the Truth. Choose 1. Target opponent reveals their hand. I get to choose an enchantment or planeswalker card from it and make them discard it. Or I get to pick a target opponent or target opponent sacrifices an enchantment. Again, if someone's using Propaganda, Smothering Tide, or something that your creature's intertap, you have to do this or do that. Might as well get rid of it. Corrupt Court Official. When Corrupt Court Official enters the battlefield, target opponent discards a card. Helpful. Here's Murder. 3 costs. Destroy target creature, but I don't have to pick and choose when to do it. I do it whenever. Dig Up the Body. Casualty 1. Copy the spell by killing off 1. Or creature with power 1 at least. Mill 2 cards. Then you may return a creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Do it twice. Bring back 2 creatures. Might as well. Demon's Due. Scry 2, draw 2 cards, you lose 2 life. I'll be gaining 2 life anyway. Might as well go ahead and do it. I don't lose anything. I get to draw besides 4 mana. Witness Protection. I could turn someone's commander into a 1/1 useless creature. They can't have any abilities. Gets rid of it. Disdainful Stroke. Counter target spell with mana value 4 or greater. 2 costs. Benefit, especially when people are using kill spells or X plus whatever. I can counter those spells. It costs them that much. Security Bypass. As long as enchanted creature is attacking alone, it can't be blocked. Whenever enchanted creature has, whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, it conveys. Benefit for us. Broker's Veteran. When it dies, put a shield counter on target creature you control. It's a 2/1 for 2 costs. It'll be helpful to help save some creatures. Shield counters are kind of like totem armor. And now we have Make Disappear. Casualty 1. Counter target spell unless its controller pays 2. Well, I can counter the spell twice. So they'll have to pay 4. And I only had to pay 2. Rooftop Nuisance. Casualty 1. Target creature. Tap target creature. It doesn't untap during its controller's next unstep. Draw a card. I get to draw 2 cards and tap 2 creatures. It could be the same player. It could be a different opponent. It doesn't matter. For 3 costs to do so, it's pretty worth it. Case the Joint. A little expensive. Draw 2 cards, then look at the top card of each player's library. I mean, it's there. 4 costs. Draw 2 cards, and then make people show me their cards. I mean, it's gonna force people to, be annoyed. It's like, oh great, I have to do this. Next are going to be some lands that we're going to be add. I consider them like kind of like fetch lands, but not fetch lands. They're a little interesting. So this one is Maestro's Theater. Granted, I don't have mountain in this deck, but island and swamp, and I get to put it on the battlefield tapped and gain a life and shuffle. It's helpful. Broker's Hideout. Again, I don't have a forest, but plains and island, I do have those. In case I can't get the cards that I need or the lands I need, might as well be able to pick and choose. Obscura Storefront. I have all three: swamp, plains, island. It's helpful. Skybridge Tower. Dual land, but it comes in tap. It's not really useful. That's why we kind of added the scry lands when we need it. They come in tap, but I get the scry. And then I can also sacrifice these and draw a card if it comes down to it. Waterfront District, same thing. Raffine's Tower is probably the better lands. It taps for 3, and it comes in tapped, obviously, but it taps for 3, and also has the names Plains, Island, Swamp, so I can use it to get what I need to get. So, that's the lands. Obviously, we have islands. We're using Innistrad. Plains, again from Innistrad. And then we're one short on the swamps from Innistrad, so we're going to use the full art that we ended up pulling from the box. But this completes everything on this deck that we built up. Whole point of it is, so far, is to kill off somebody with just drawing a bunch of lands, and I mean not lands, drawing a bunch of cards. So kind of like a mill deck, but not a mill deck. It's just meant to get rid of people. I appreciate you all coming in and watching our video. Again, look forward to Quasar Augur of Agonies playing, and I might actually make a deck out of her and just pretty much use it in the future. Thanks again for watching, guys. You all take care. Have a wonderful day, and look forward to our battle.